You are watching a story about what happens when the land asks for payment, not in money, but in heartbreak. This year, we battled an unrelenting drought, failed to save the heirloom corn from a notorious bandit, and learned that our greatest strength only comes from accepting what we have profoundly lost. The raccoon tax, losing the Abnaki corn. There is a cost to farming, not measured in seeds or fertilizer, but in the heartbreak of lost labor. This year, that cost came in the form of a small, masked bandit with a taste for heritage. We put an immense amount of work into the Abnaki cornfield, replanting, watering, and tending to the soil with hope. This heirloom variety is magnificent, filling out beautifully on the stalk, a testament to ancient agricultural wisdom. But the bounty of a heritage crop is often the biggest target. We battle drought and we battle deer, but nothing is quite as disheartening as the raccoon. The true sadness isn't the loss of the whole ear. It's the fact that they are not hungry enough to demolish it entirely. Instead, they sample, pulling back the husk, taking a few bites from the ripening kernel, and leaving the rest for rot. This calculated waste is nature's harsh tax on the farmer, rendering dozens of gorgeous, otherwise perfect ears useless. They need to dry on the stalk, but if they remain outside tonight, the coons will return, continuing their destructive quality control check. The sadness is real, knowing the people waiting for food will not receive this beautiful harvest. All that can be done is to take what little remains inside and share it as a gesture of dignity. That Abnaki corn was meant for tables, but the land decided it would first pay the workers. This payment, however, reveals a deeper question. Is the food we eat truly the point of the harvest? The secondary fruit. Reclaiming the land. Ethic. Modern farming often measures success in sheer output, treating the earth like a machine designed only to produce the biggest yield. But the ancient wisdom of the gardener understood that the goal was never the final product. There was a time when I spent much of my life striving to create beauty. Beautiful pottery, beautiful sculpture, objects crafted in clay and bronze. I was chasing perfect form. Yet, all that lust for beautiful form is fulfilled right here, collaborating with Mother Nature in the garden. I still want to make things sometimes, but what truly matters is not the objects we create, but the principles we uphold. The primary fruit of any honorable life lived on the land is the care of the land itself, doing what is right for the soil first and foremost, lovingly, but pointedly. This is the forgotten ethic. The bounty, the harvest, the delicious vegetables, those are merely the secondary fruit. If you neglect the primary duty, the secondary fruit will wither and fail. We need to remind people that the output on the plate is only a reflection of the reverence for the ground beneath our feet. This philosophy, which places respect over returns, is what makes the hardest labor bearable, especially when paying back the quiet strength of the farm's true engine, the horse contract, thanking the original laborers. Long before the age of diesel and steel, every farmer knew the secret to a successful harvest was the partnership forged with their working animals. The labor was shared, and so too was the reward. These horses did a tremendous amount of work in this field. They tilled, they prepared the ground, and they are responsible for the opportunity to grow anything here at all. They hold a contract that requires payment. So, the salvageable ears of corn, those deemed lost to the coon's destructive sampling, are taken straight to the true laborers. This moment is not a trivial chore, it is an act of deep gratitude. As the husks are stripped, the powerful sound of tearing and satisfied chewing fills the air, a visceral sign of their clear appreciation. We must remember that every single kernel we might have harvested this year came because of their sweat and strength. There would not be one grain of corn without their effort. This is the forgotten agricultural tradition, honoring the source of the power that allows the garden to thrive. It's a moment of connection that industrial farming cannot replicate, tying the final output directly back to the beating hearts that made it possible. We have paid the horse tax. Now we turn our attention to the great survival strategy of the next crop. Weeding for water, the drought-proof. Potato plan. The self-sufficient gardener knows that every crop is a long-term strategic battle against the whims of the climate. In a year defined by relentless drought, the potato patch requires not just patience, but constant, calculated intervention. The self-sufficient gardener knows that every crop is a long-term strategic battle against the whims of the climate. In a year defined by relentless drought, the potato patch requires not just patience, but constant, calculated intervention. This year, the fight became urgent about water. Potatoes demand moisture, and while we watered endlessly, a plan was needed to survive the extreme conditions. Initially, we left the aggressive quackgrass growing between the rows. The logic was sound. The grass would trap and contain the precious moisture near the soil. However, when the drought intensified, that strategy became a liability, turning the quackgrass into competition for every drop. It demanded a tremendous amount of painstaking work to weed it all out by hand. Now, the new plan is in full effect, hilling up the dry soil around the plants, watering deeply, and then covering the entire patch with a thick layer of mulch. This is the only way to protect them from the predicted extended dry cycle. This intense hands-on labor is an act of hope, ensuring that by mid-October, the ground will hopefully yield the necessary harvest. But to achieve this, you need more than hope. You need the right devotion and the perfect instrument. The prayer of the hoe, finding strength in work. Not all labor drains the spirit. Sometimes the most demanding work is the most restorative, provided you have the right tool and the right philosophy. We reach for the hoe, not a flimsy store-bought model, but a truly beautiful instrument with a sharp steel blade and fine wooden handle. There is joy in using a tool that aligns with its purpose, transforming the hard chore into a rhythmic, almost meditative activity. The sound of the blade slicing through the new dry earth is a cleansing one. This kind of physical effort allows you to find the difference between work that tires you out and work that strengthens you. This is the ancient wisdom of labor, that work is not merely a task to be completed, but an offering to be made. If work is prayer, then you seek all the work you can stand. It aligns perfectly with the philosophy shared by the Shakers, who understood that spiritual devotion was found in daily action, hands to work and hearts to God. The ground being turned over here is new ground, not previously part of the garden, making the physical exertion the perfect first step in turning wild earth into a productive field. It is a demanding exercise, but one that rewards the body and focuses the mind. This clarity of purpose leads directly to the next harvest ritual. The carrot's baptism. A moment of childhood. Flashback. The journey from earth to table requires many steps, but it's in the simple act of cleaning the harvest that connection to the food truly deepens. Here, each carrot receives a personal baptism. As the fresh carrots emerge from the soil, washing them is not a task for a machine, but a hands-on encounter. Every single carrot is met, scrubbed, and cleaned, an intimacy lost when produce arrives pre-packaged from an anonymous source. The result is a vibrant orange, cleaner than most carrots in this world, prepared with care and attention. This deliberate interaction with the food fosters a forgotten appreciation. Sometimes a simple task triggers a sudden, vivid burst of memory, a ghost from childhood surfacing in the present. As the water washes over the rough skins of the carrots, there's a distinct flashback. The image of Uncle Frank, upending the bird bath, soaking Aunt Florence in a moment of pure, unexpected chaos. You remember the shock of the cold, clean water and the sound of laughter. It was quite the day, a reminder that life, like the garden, is full of unpredictable moments. These clean carrots, pristine and ready, are set aside to dry, awaiting their eventual place in the winter stores. But the work isn't done until the cleanup crew has been summoned for inspection. Quality control agents, the horse-powered cleanup. In the days of true self-sufficiency, nothing was wasted. Every scrap, stalk, and leaf had a purpose. And often, the farm animals served as the most efficient and enthusiastic cleanup crew. After the arduous cleaning of the carrots, the unusable tops and rejected pieces remain. Instead of tossing this valuable roughage aside, we summon the quality control agents, the horses. It is a moment of practical humor and perfect symmetry. The herd comes eagerly, their work in the fields now resulting in an immediate, well-deserved reward. The connection is vital. These animals are fed by the land they helped tend. They tilled the dirt, so they might as well enjoy the fruits and the scraps. This system of reciprocal labor ensures mutual benefit. The horses receive a healthy, hearty treat, and the garden owner benefits from the most efficient disposal method possible. This symbiosis, where labor and reward are shared directly, is a forgotten principle of farm life. Modernity tries to replace these simple, effective partnerships with chemicals and disposal bins. But the old ways understood that the cycle of the farm is complete when the workers, both human and animal, are nourished. This care for the working partners is a reminder of the immense commitment required for the long-term harvest. The long game, potato patience and peril potatoes, are a staple of winter survival, but in a challenging season, they require more than just care. They demand faith. The immense effort poured into them speaks to the high stakes of a demanding year. The drought has been relentless, leaving the leaves yellowing off far too early. We need the potatoes this year more than ever, not just for ourselves, but for the dozens of families depending on this essential staple in the winter storage share. This need elevates the simple act of gardening into a desperate, focused commitment. The recent gift of rain, while welcome, was fleeting, and the forecast promises a quick return to extended dry conditions. Every precaution must be taken. The long game here is played underground. We must trust that the tremendous effort put into weeding, hilling, and mulching the rows will secure enough moisture. This is a gamble based on experience, hoping the growth below the surface will defy the scorching conditions above. If successful, by mid-October, the ground will yield the sustenance we rely on. If not, the winter will be long, proving that sometimes even the hardest work is not enough to defy the elements. But we press on, knowing that preparation is its own reward. The storage share. Quantifying winter survival. When we look at the bounty of the garden, we often see beauty and freshness, but the generations before us saw something else: insurance. They looked at a harvest and saw a quantifiable buffer against the harsh reality of winter scarcity. That philosophy is the foundation of the fall storage share. While many modern gardeners offer a weekly summer box, a lovely delivery of temporary freshness, often greeted with a casual, "thanks, bye," the storage share is designed to address the gravity of self-sufficiency. It quantifies the essentials that a family will need to get through difficult months. My goal is not novelty, but security. To provide a solid block of food that could genuinely sustain a family through a tight spot in the coming winter. This involves dedicated processing. Tomatoes are transformed into 4 quarts of essential sauce for each family, squashes are cured, and carrots and heavy cabbages are set aside for root cellaring. Even the dry beans, which won't be ready until Christmas, are portioned out. This is not casual gardening. It is the practical commitment to ensuring that the community has the resources it needs. This foresight, this deliberate preparation for scarcity, is one of the most vital lessons. It is only possible because in a year of massive failure, some crops choose to be absolute titans. Golden beets and heavy cabbages. The bounty of resilience. In every difficult year, where one crop fails, another quietly thrives, proving that resilience is the true test of a self-sufficient garden. This season, the heavy hitters are the crops bred for endurance, not delicacy. Despite the relentless drought that threatens the corn and stresses the potatoes, the storage vegetables have flourished. We look at the wonderful golden beets, rooted deep, shining brightly, and promising sweetness even as winter approaches. And then there are the heavy cabbages, heads solid and dense, built to withstand the cold and store for months. These are the vegetables that formed the backbone of the winter larder for generations past. They were valued not for speed, but for durability. They ensure that the commitment to the fall storage share is met, providing the essential bulk necessary for a family's survival. The total harvest, once gathered, will be meticulously divided proportionally among the dozen families who rely on this output. Even the last remaining fresh greens and the dry beans, still weeks away from being ready, are already mentally accounted for. This quiet, reliable bounty of the toughest crops provides the confidence needed to face the coming season. A deep-seated satisfaction that the land, despite its struggles, has provided the essentials. Now, the final painful lessons of the harvest must be confronted. The melancholy harvest. The resolution of the corn failure. The most challenging lesson the land teaches is acceptance. While the cabbages thrive and the beets stand firm, the loss of a key crop can cast a long shadow over the entire season. The Abnaki corn, a beautiful heritage commitment, has been declared a casualty. This failure carries a weight far heavier than mere financial loss. It is a big sadness. We invested in that corn not just as food for ourselves, but as a promise to the families in the storage share. To have people waiting, depending on this specific bounty, only to be turned away by the relentless work of the raccoons and the forces of nature, is deeply disappointing. The old ways required an intimacy with failure. You fought the drought and the pests with everything you had, but when the battle was lost, you had to absorb the defeat without bitterness. All the beautiful ears that could not be dried, cured, or saved for human consumption are instead reserved for the working horses. A gesture of dignity, ensuring that even the failure provides sustenance. The corn patch is not abandoned, but respectfully closed. This act of resignation is not surrender. It is simply acknowledging that the farm gate swings both ways. There is success, and there is the profound, necessary grief of what did not come to pass. But even in this loss, there is unexpected art. The geometry of squash, delicata, and the art of form. For those who spend their lives creating, shaping clay, carving wood, or casting bronze, there is a unique satisfaction when nature itself produces a form so perfect it surpasses human artistry. The harvest of the delicata squash provides such a moment. It is a crop that has asked little and given much, presenting flawless, elongated forms with stripes of green and gold. These simple vegetables satisfy the lust for beautiful shape better than any sculpture I ever attempted. In my past life, I tried to impose beauty onto inert materials. Here, in the garden, the form grows organically from the earth, the product of collaboration with the most skilled artist of all, Mother Nature. There is deep joy in the process of working the ground, not to dominate it, but to coax this inherent perfection from it. Each squash, pristine and ready for storage, is a work of art that will also feed dozens of families. It proves the foundational truth that the secondary fruit, the bounty, is only so exquisite because the primary fruit, the care of the land, was honored. The practical gardener learns to appreciate this aesthetic quality of the harvest, recognizing that abundance and beauty are often one and the same. It is a moment of pure fulfillment, but this deep satisfaction must be balanced by the single most essential wisdom the self-sufficient life teaches, that your greatest joy is always rooted in your deepest pain. Joy is the fruit, a meditation on well-lived grief. The self-sufficient life, ruled by weather, pests, and hard labor, teaches an invaluable and often forgotten philosophical truth. You cannot know true joy unless you first understand loss. This is the great insight born from the unforgiving field. Joy is the fruit of well-lived grief. We see the corn fail and the drought threaten the potatoes, and we must accept that failure without bitterness. If we refuse to take in that pain, to truly live it and understand its necessity, then the resulting joy we feel for the surviving carrots and the perfect squash will be shallow and fleeting. The deep, rich experience of gratitude only comes when you know exactly what could have been taken away. It is through accepting the hardships, the back-breaking work, the failed crops, the demanding hours, that our appreciation for what remains becomes profound. The old wisdom understood that struggle was not an obstacle to happiness, but its very source. The heart that has wrestled with the earth is the heart most capable of true feeling. This cyclical acceptance of loss and gain is what makes the final moments of the harvest, even the most mundane ones, so deeply satisfying. Watering the tomatoes. A brief moment of summer sun. In the late season, when the greens are fading and the air carries the first scent of autumn, the tomato patch is a final, vivid burst of summer color and abundance. It is the reward for months of diligent, hopeful tending. The plants required continuous care, especially during the dry spell, but the result is a breathtaking harvest. Vines heavy with fruit that glows deep red and orange in the sun. Unlike the bland, thick-skinned tomatoes bred for travel and shelf life, these are fragile, juicy, and packed with flavor. The true taste of a backyard summer. While many of the other crops are destined for the root cellar or for immediate use by the horses, the tomatoes have one vital destiny: preservation. We meticulously pick and process them, aiming to turn the liquid bounty into the essential 4 quarts of tomato sauce for every family in the storage share. The air in the kitchen is thick with fragrant steam as the vibrant color is sealed into the jars. This is the flavor of summer, captured and concentrated for the darkest months, a small jar of liquid sunshine meant to nourish and comfort when the snow falls. It provides not just nutrients, but a memory of warmth. This small, perfect harvest ensures that the most flavorful crops are secured before turning attention to the final, necessary chore of the working day. The hay is in. Nighttime care for the working herd. The farm day does not conclude when the sun sets, but when every worker, human and animal, has been cared for. The final quiet chore is one of commitment, acknowledging the vital partnership that makes the harvest possible. The horses are integral to the entire operation, and their feed is the final necessity before the farmer can rest. We deliver the hay, a dry, fragrant abundance secured earlier in the season. This moment is defined by routine, simple direction, and mutual respect. The short guiding phrases, step over, are the language of a decades-long relationship, a shared understanding of duty and boundaries. This final act of care is a physical manifestation of the agricultural contract. They provided the muscle and the power needed to break the ground, and in return, they are fed and sheltered. It is a timeless tradition of honoring the working herd, a sense of responsibility that defines self-sufficiency more clearly than any crop. As the light fades and the horses settle in, there is a deep, quiet satisfaction. The day's labors, the losses, the victories, the philosophizing, and the planting have all concluded, and the garden awaits the darkness, ready to begin the cycle. A new tomorrow. If this glimpse into the wisdom of the hard harvest brought you perspective, please leave a like and subscribe to join our community. We'll be here next time, documenting the honest, rewarding, and sometimes devastating reality of living close to the land.